Hi, today's card is going to be showing my new butterfly die. It's called the Majestic Monarch. And this is probably as close as I get to a one-layer card. But it's really, really pretty. And we're going to show you how to use the aperture from the butterfly, cut it, and do some inlay work there. The dies we'll be using in today's video are the Canadian Collection Toronto. And we're going to be using this center oval for our sentiment. Here's the star of the show, the Majestic Monarch. Isn't she gorgeous? And we'll also be using the Canadian Collection Vancouver die for the sentiment as well. So let's get started. I've done a little bit of pre-cutting because I needed to use the die twice, but I wanted the aperture from that butterfly. So I've gone and cut it down in the corner, and we're going to do one more up in the top part. So we'll bring her in. And I'm going to kind of just offset her a little bit around the first one. About like that, I think. Tape it into place, and I'll put a little tape on either side. And I'm using my junior plates today. Just give her a quick run through the ground caliper. Now you don't actually need to use the butterfly we're using here, but you'll have it for a later project so you can keep it. And let me just very gently take off my tape. Save that and use it for another die cut. Gently. And I'm going to ever so lightly get this out of there. There we go. So now, like I said, you've got a butterfly. We're going to use this later so we can keep it for another project. But I've got my two apertures there, just kind of offset like that. Really, really pretty. So the next thing you want to do is cut some butterflies in different colors, okay? So I've chosen a couple of shades of some lavenders and purples here. So they're already finished and ready to go for us. And the sticky adhesive sheet, I've just cut a little bit that will fit here. So I'm going to work from the back and just peel this off in place. Let me get this going. I'll pop that over that, and I'll have to trim away the extra bit. So let me just make sure I'm covering all parts of that. There we go. And I'm going to see if I can catch that before it goes down. Take it right off the edge there. There. Okay. And turn this over. I'm going to do them one at a time. I think that's the easiest way to do this. There we go. So I'm going to use the darker of the two on the bottom here. We're going to just inlay that back into the original cut. Just work slowly. Make sure you get it all lined up. And you can actually use the little piece of leftover if you want to hold it down with that. Get the antenna. Now they're going to move around a little bit, so you're going to have to push them back into place. There we go. Okay, so all that's nice and cut. Now, the thing you can do with this, if you want to be a little more inventive, is you could take the leftover, what I call the fall-away bits from your butterfly, and you could reinsert them back into place if you want. But I wanted to add a little bit of bling, so we're going to use some of our diamond sparkles for that. I'll go ahead and do the second one, and then we'll do it all together. So I've got another sticky sheet here. Peel that over. Place that over that. Let me see if I can line that up, covering all bits. That looks pretty good. And there again, I've got a little going off the edge here, so I'm going to try and just nip that away. There. And catch this little edge here. I think that should do the job. Okay. Give it a good rub so all the areas are down around it. And I'm going to take my light lavender one here and pop this back into place. Just go slow. Because it's got a lot of detail to it, you're going to want to just walk it along slowly, popping all those spots back down. And then just use the glossy, waxy side of that release paper to make sure all that's tucked in really nicely. Okay, so now the diamond sprinkles. And I've got a piece of copy paper here. And that way we can catch the extra bits of it. Give a little bit of a rub there. Do this side. Burnish it all in nicely. And the last little bit over here. So pretty there. So you can see how you've just got a little bit of bling coming through on your butterflies. Now where I've used some of that Scotch tape, I've got a tiny bit of glitter stuck to the residue. So if you just use a rubber eraser, you can take that off without any problem. Tidy up. So let me just go ahead and do that real quickly. Just got a little bit around there. That should take that right off. If you remember, you can do it before you do your glitter. I didn't. Okay, so the next step is I've gone ahead and cut a few more of these butterflies out of white card that I've just used a spray adhesive over the top and glittered them as well. So they're a little bit blingy too. So I'm going to add some Cosmic Shimmer glue to these, and we're going to have them just filling in and around the areas, and then we'll take the extra bits off with some scissors. So let's see, part of these will actually go off the page, so I may not need glue absolutely everywhere. So let's do one right about like that. We'll let that set up for a second. And I've got another one we're going to do up at the top. A little bit of glue around the edges here. Got some bigger spots, you can just catch little daubs of it. We'll pop that right about like that. And I'll tell you what I think will be really nice to do once this gets set up, and we'll trim off the extra. We can use some of the little bits and put them up in the corners too. So let me do a little trimming this way. And I think I can get right in here, trim along the edge. That. So now I've got a little piece I can use down in this corner, so we'll add a tiny bit more glue, and it'll just look like a wing coming in from the edge of the card. There's no waste at all. I like that. Give that a second to set up, and I'll trim this one off. Oops, sorry, the antennas are going on this one. That along there, and let me grab him. Get that. There we go. Okay, and I can use this little guy just to come in from the top corner there. I think that'll be really nice. So there's absolutely no waste here. Oops. Okay. Make sure there's enough to go off the edge of the card so it looks natural. Okay, and now we should be able to do a bit trimming up on this side. I think it's good and stuck. And if not, you can add a little glue in spots that you need to afterwards. Okay. And like that. There we go. And you can do it quicker in a paper cutter too if you like. Now I've kind of got a really pretty base card going, which is lovely by itself. You could stamp a sentiment if you don't want it to have any more dimension to it, but I'm going to do a little bit of dimension to the back of this. So let's go ahead and put it onto our base, and then we'll do our sentiment. I've got some mounting foam as usual. So let me peel off the backing on it. There we go. And we'll get this all set up. My signature piercing around the edge. That's looking pretty nice. Good to go. Now, what I've gone ahead and done on the original one here is I've used this die, but I haven't cut it out. I've just decided to emboss it. So let me show you how I've done that. One of the things about embossing dies rather than cutting dies is you can sometimes actually cut through your card. So a little bit of a trick is to cut a piece of copy paper, just lightweight paper, and put it in between the cards you want to emboss and your actual die. And I think what I'll do first is the actual emboss, then I'll take it away and do the cutting. So let's just put that into place, and I want to catch both of those so it doesn't move. And I'm going to transfer that to my, there we go. Embossing plate. My base plate, there we go. So we'll get that done first, and then we'll cut it. Okay. So I did actually do a little bit more cutting than I would have appreciated, but sometimes, you know, with detailed dies that can happen too. But I think we'll be able to use this just fine. So let me use the cutting edge on this, put it into place, pop that down, and transfer that. We'll cut the outside edge now. Okay. So we've got a nice little background, and I have gone ahead and stamped my sentiment in black, and like I said earlier, we're going to use the oval from the Toronto to cut this out. So let's pop this into place, and let me just center that nicely. We can live with that like there, and we will get it run through and give it a quick cut, and we'll do some inking. Okay, I'm going to use the shaded Lilac from the Tim Holtz Distress Inks with one of our new smoothies, and these are lovely. Let me take off that tape. We don't want a void there. I'm going to pop it onto a piece of magnetic sheet because that actually helps hold it in place a little bit better. Really lightly, just make sure that I've got just a light smattering here, and you can just do a little bit of rubbing around the edge. Bring in a really, really light purpley color here to match those pretty butterflies. There. These are really nice for inking, and because there's not a straight edge to them, you won't get that spot where you have a line on your ink as you do on sometimes with the cut and dry foam. So I really, really have enjoyed working with these. There we go. Pop this out of the die so you can see how pretty that is. Isn't that gorgeous? And I'm going to just put a little piece of mounting foam on the back. Trim that down a bit. I'll tell you what, I've actually got one here that's got a little bit of mounting foam on it. Forgot I'd prepared that. So I put this into place right in the center. There we go. And bring our card back over, move my mess. And we will just pop that into place. And there again, I've got a little glue that's going to touch, or a little glitter, so I'm going to put a little glue on the back. And we will just aim for that spot right about there. I like that. So pretty. Oh, those butterflies, just beautiful. So you've got a really pretty spring card just for any occasion. You can send this to a friend. I think I would love this if you sent it to me. Hope you've enjoyed today's video and look for us again soon. Thanks.